So, students, we are going to discuss about chapter number 1, resources and development, and the last topic of this chapter, that is soil erosion, types of soil erosion, and what are the different ways or the measures to conserve soil erosion that we are going to discuss today. Okay, so first of all, let us start with soil erosion. Let us understand what does the term soil erosion means, how do this soil erosion takes place, okay, and what are the different types of soil erosion actually that we are going to discuss. See, soil erosion basically refers to the removal of the topmost layer of the soil due to the various natural forces. Okay, so soil erosion basically means when the topmost layer of the soil gets eroded. Okay, when the topmost layer of the soil gets eroded because of the various natural forces. Okay, various natural forces like because of the force of the water, running water, or because of the force of the wind and all. Okay, that is known as soil erosion. Okay, so soil erosion is a continuous process actually. Okay, like the formation of the soil goes on continuously. In the same way, soil erosion is a continuous process, but the rate of soil erosion it varies from one area to another. Like in our area, if we see in our area, in and surrounding our areas and all, in our areas also soil erosion takes place actually, but to a very less extent. Okay, but there are some areas where the process of soil erosion is very much faster actually. Okay, and there are various causes responsible for soil erosion. Okay, so the process of soil formation and erosion they go on simultaneously, and there generally there's a balance between the two. Okay, so basically the process of soil formation and erosion they go on simultaneously. Actually, they go on side by side. On one hand, the process of soil formation takes place, and on the other hand, the process of soil erosion it goes on continuously. Okay, so both the processes they act continuously, and generally there's a balance between the two. Okay, there's a balance between the two, but sometimes what we observe or what we see is that the rate of soil erosion is much faster than the rate of soil formation. Okay, that means the rate of soil erosion is very faster, okay, than the rate at which the soil is being formed. So in that case, what happens? There is a degradation of the soil. Actually, means there is a depletion of the soil cover. Okay, and when the balance gets disrupted, actually, we say that degradation of the land or the depletion of the soil cover is taking place actually. Okay, so sometimes this balance is disturbed due to human activities like the deforestation, overgrazing, construction and mining, etc. While natural forces like the wind, glacier, and water they lead to soil erosion. Okay, so this balance between the process of soil formation and the soil erosion actually it gets disturbed because of certain activities. Okay, because of certain human activities and natural forces. Okay. So basically, the human activities include deforestation, overgrazing, construction and mining, etc. Okay, means when we cut down the trees or when overgrazing of the animals takes place or when we carry out with the construction activities like the construction of the roads, railways, bridges, houses and all, or when mining activities takes place, at that time, the rate of soil erosion becomes much faster actually. Okay, and then the balance between soil erosion and the process of soil formation gets disturbed. Okay, not only the human activities but also the natural forces. Okay, the natural forces are also responsible for soil erosion. For example, the wind. Okay, the force of the wind, the melting of the glaciers and the water they lead to soil erosion. So when the wind they blows at a very faster rate, what happens? The soil which is very much fragile, which is very much loose and dry, they get eroded. Okay, they get blown away by the fast moving wind actually. Okay, so in that case soil erosion takes place. So this wind is a very important natural factor responsible for soil erosion in the drier part of our country. Like in the case of Rajasthan and all, okay, wind plays a very important role in soil erosion. Whereas in the high hilly regions, in the mountainous areas and all, glaciers. Okay, the melting of the glaciers also causes soil erosion. Means when the glaciers melt, what happens? The water, the glacier, it gets turned out into water. Okay, so when the water flows, actually they bring along with them the sediments and all. Okay, means the sediments and all get eroded actually. And in the plain areas, rainfall. Okay, rainfall is also responsible for soil erosion. That is water. Means when rainfall takes place at a very excessive amount, what happens? The uppermost layer of the soil or the topmost layer of the soil gets washed away. Okay, so this is how different human factors, human activities, and the natural forces, they causes a disbalance between the process of soil formation and soil erosion. Okay, and it ultimately leads to the depletion of the soil cover. Okay, so this is what about the basic understanding about soil erosion. Okay, so soil erosion is actually the removal of the topmost layer of the soil. Means when the topmost layer of the soil gets removed because of the human activities or because of the natural factors. Okay, it is known as soil erosion. Okay, so this is what about soil erosion, and like the balance means how the balance get disrupted. Okay, in case of soil erosion. So this soil erosion can be divided into two types. Okay, the soil erosion can be classified into two types. One is the gully erosion and another one is the sheet erosion. Okay, gully erosion and sheet erosion, these are the two types of soil erosion, okay, which basically takes place or which generally takes place because of the running water, because of the flow of the water. Okay, so basically what happens is actually the mainly wind and water, the flow of the water is responsible for soil erosion. Okay, but out of these two, out of the wind and the soil, okay, like running water, the running water is mainly responsible for soil erosion. Okay, so soil erosion can mainly be classified into two types, that is the gully erosion and the sheet erosion. Okay, these are the two main types of soil erosion, which is basically caused because of the flow of the water, because of the flow of the running water actually. Okay, so now let us know what does this gully erosion and what does sheet erosion basically means, or how does this gully erosion and the sheet erosion basically takes place, that we are going to discuss. Gully erosion. See, the gully erosion basically takes place in those areas where the water flows from the if they flow basically in a like slopy areas actually. Okay, they basically flow in a slopy areas or like the areas which has some steep slopes and all. In those areas, gully erosions are more prominent. Okay. The running water, they cuts through the clayey soils and makes deep channels as gullies. And this type of erosion is known as the gully erosion. Okay, so gully erosion basically takes place when the running water, okay, when the running water, they flow through the clayey soil and they make small channels or streams. Okay, and through these small channels of the streams, what happens? The soil gets eroded or the soil passes actually. Okay, that is known as the gully erosion. So here you can see the image actually. This image basically shows that how does this gully erosion takes place actually. Okay, so this is the image of gully erosion actually. Okay, so this type of gully erosion is like more common. Okay, this type of gully erosion is more common in the Chambal River Basin and all. Okay, in the Chambal River Basin, basically in the Central Highlands part actually. Okay, where the land is like the land is having a gentle slope, and because of this gentle nature of the slopey nature of the land actually, the water, okay, it flows in different direction making small channels and gullies. Okay, and the entire area of that particular locality or region, okay, is made up of such gully formations and all, and the land becomes unsuitable for carrying out any activities actually. Okay, basically the land becomes unsuitable for carrying out with the agricultural activities. Okay, so it is so such land actually, such land which becomes unsuitable for agriculture because of gully erosion are known as the bad land. Okay, and it is mostly common in the Chambal River Basin. Okay, in the Chambal River Basin, such kind of gully erosion is mainly common. So here you can see that the land becomes unfit for cultivation and is known as bad land. And in the Chambal Basin, such lands are called the ravines actually. Okay, and such kind of gullies which are being formed by the running water, they are known as ravines. Okay. So this is what about gully erosion. Even we can find like we can see gully erosion during the rainy season in our part also. Along the side of the road, you will find that basically along the side of the road or in the agricultural fields and all. Okay, what happens? The water, they make small channels and the water passes through that small channels and all. Okay, and the topmost layer of the soil, it gets washed away through that small channels and all. Okay, so this type of gully erosion is prominent or common almost throughout our country, but it is more prominent in those areas where the land is having a gentle slope actually. Okay, and basically in the Chambal River Basin region, this kind of gully erosion is more common. Okay, so this is what about gully erosion. So gully erosion basically takes place when the water flows, okay, when the running water they flows through small channels, or they cut down the land or soil and they make small channels and all, okay, and the water passes through it and carrying away the topmost layer of the soil. The next, is the sheet erosion. Sheet erosion is the most common form of soil erosion actually. Okay, means we know that the entire topmost layer of the soil is there. Okay, means when the topmost layer of the soil gets washed away or blown away, okay, in entirely, when the entire topmost layer of the soil gets washed away, that is known as sheet erosion. For example, the agricultural land. Suppose an agricultural land where the farmers they are growing the crops. After the crops has been harvested, they leave the land like uh, like without any kind of vegetation cover. Okay, it is left abundant. So what happened? The soil is very much fragile, very much loose in those agricultural land where recently agriculture has been done. So if the wind blows at a very faster rate, or if heavy rainfall takes place, so what will happen? The entire topmost layer of the soil of that particular agricultural fields will get washed away. Okay, so such erosion when the entire topmost layer of the soil gets washed away is known as the gully erosion. Okay, so sometimes water flows as sheet over the large areas down a slope, and in such the topsoil is washed away, and this is known as the sheet erosion. So it can be very effective erosive process because it can cover large areas of the sloping land. Okay, so this kind of sheet erosion causes large scale erosion because what happens is that a larger area, okay, a larger part of the soil, okay, it gets washed away at the same time. Okay, so it is the most effective uh, way of soil erosion actually. Okay, which is most you can say which is very much like harmful for the farmers and all actually. Okay, means the farmers uh, when the topmost layer of the soil gets away in the vast agricultural lands, okay, the fertility of the soils gets loosed, okay, like reduces. So the farmers they face like difficulty in carrying out the agricultural practice. Okay, so here you can see the image and it shows that how does the sheet erosion is taking place actually. Okay, so this is what about the types of soil erosion. So soil erosion can be of two types, the gully erosion and the sheet erosion. So this is gully erosion which you can see the image, and the next image which you can see, this is the sheet erosion. Okay, so by till now we have discussed about the concept of erosion, what does the soil erosion means and what are the types of soil erosion. Okay, the next which I am going to discuss is about the causes of the soil erosion. Okay, so the basic causes of soil erosion we all know, because when we were discussing about land degradation, about okay, that time also we discussed about various causes of land degradation. Okay, so many of the causes of land degradation are also the causes of soil erosion. Okay, so there are some like common causes of soil erosion actually, like deforestation, overgrazing by the animals and all, mining, quarrying and all. These are the common cause of soil erosion. Okay, but apart from this, there are also some other causes of soil erosion which needs to be discussed actually. Okay, so let us have a look at the some of the important causes of soil erosion. See, plowing in a wrong way, that is up and down the slope from channels for the quick flow of water leading to soil erosion. So plowing in a wrong way, that is up and down the slope, okay, it forms channels for the quick flow of water which causes soil erosion. So basically in the areas where there is a gentle slope, means where the land is not flat actually, but a gentle slope is there, or in the hilly regions, what happens if the land is being plowed, okay, means if plowing is being done from up and down, okay, from up and down, so what will happen if the plowing is being done from up and down, what will happen, like when the water will fall on it, or when we will supply water to the agricultural fields, the through this like up and down plowing and all, what will channels can be easily formed, okay, because of the force of the water, and the entire topmost layer of the soil will get washed away, and it will cause soil erosion actually. Okay, so basically how we can reduce this soil erosion, okay, instead of plowing up and down, we can plow it from horizontally actually. Okay, so that to some extent the flow of the water can be restricted and it does not cause much erosion actually. The next, overgrazing. Okay, overgrazing is another important cause of soil erosion. Okay, like in case of land degradation, we saw that how overgrazing is causing soil erosion actually. Okay, land degradation. So when the animals are left free to feed on the grasses on the ground, actually, so they eat away the grasses. Okay, and even sometimes what happens means after eating away the grasses, the land is totally exposed to the sunlight, the water, and the wind action. Okay, so the land becomes very much fragile, and if at that time, when the land becomes very much it remains without grass cover and all. Okay, if the wind blows at a very faster rate, or if heavy rainfall takes place, what happens is the topmost layer of the soil gets washed away actually. Okay, so the grazing animals feed on the grasses and remove the vegetation from the land. They also pull out plants by their roots. This loosens the soils and make it more prone to erosion. Okay, so some of the small plants and the grasses, they are being eaten away by the animals. Even the roots are also being uprooted. Okay, so the soil becomes loose. Okay, and the area become very prone to erosion actually. Okay, means the chances of soil erosion increases in those areas. The next, cutting down of trees on large scale makes the soil loose, as this in turn decreases the chances of soil erosion. Okay, so cutting down the tree, that is deforestation. Okay, it is the most important factor of soil erosion. Okay, because when we cut down the trees, what happens is that the roots, okay, when we cut down the trees, actually the roots which holds the soil, actually they also die actually. Okay, they also become loose. So the soil become loose actually. Okay, when the soil become loose, means the chances of soil erosion increases. And this is the reason that in the mountain areas and all, we can see that the landslides and the soil erosion is very common. Why? Because the forests are being cleared in the mountainous areas, and the soil which was being held tightly by the roots of the plants, these roots of the plants can no more hold the soil actually. Okay, so the soil becomes exposed, very much fragile, and the chances of soil erosion and landslides takes place actually. Okay, even in the mining areas. Okay, in the mining areas, mining is also an important cause of soil erosion, as it needs to be dug out. Okay, so mining is another important cause of soil erosion, because in order to carry out the mining activities, what we need to do is we need to dig holes, we need to dig caves and all, like structures inside the beneath the soil. Okay, to extract the minerals and all. So when we take out this soil, the layer of the soil from the earth's surface interior, to take out the minerals and all, okay, the soil become like very much loose, and the soil which dig out, okay, which we take out from the interior, okay, that gets